Hi, my name is Tanner Nielsen, and I'm a student at Utah Valley University. And today I will be giving an informative presentation on a skill that I think is very important, something that I think we see in our everyday life. It's something that without this, it's impossible to become a better person. It's impossible to become great at what we want. So let's dive right into it. As you know, this is a great quote. This is something that I've heard many times in my life. It is that practice makes perfect. And I myself have seen that in my life. I have seen that, whether it's in sports, for example, I love sports, basketball, baseball, soccer, things I've played my whole life. And I remember when I first started playing sports, I was not the best player. I couldn't do what I wanted. It seemed like a lot of people were better than me at it, and I just couldn't quite figure out why. So what I did is I started playing. I started practicing every day. And eventually, as I practiced, I'd go practice basketball, shooting every day, I noticed that I made more shots. Soccer, as I went and I shot more times on the goal, I scored more goals. So this is just something I've seen, and I truly believe is that practice makes perfect. Practice also strengthens skills. I believe this to be true. I believe, like I said with my time in sports, is that, without practice, we'll never get better. We won't improve. How does practice strengthen skills? Something that I'd like to cover in this is, I don't know how many of you have ever been to a job, been to a job interview. When you first get there, you first interview, or you first start your first work day, it can be very tough, very nerve-wracking. You're not sure what you can do, you're just overwhelmed. And something that we might notice at the time is that our brain is constantly learning. And what that means is we might not know it at the time, but as we go throughout our workday, we might pick up on little things that coworkers are doing, that we might have not noticed at first, but then when we start work the next day, we'll know what they're doing. For example, let's say you work at a fast food restaurant and you're making a sandwich. You notice that someone puts on the sauce before they put on the burger, and you'll just start doing that automatically, and your manager will say, "Hey, how'd you know how to do that? I never taught you that." And you'll be like, "I'm not really sure either," but it's because your brain's constantly learning, constantly picking up things that we might notice at first. So that is one of the ways that practice strengthens skills. And practice requires motivation. Like I said, kind of going back to your first couple of days at the job, when you first start, it can be pretty depressing. People can get mad at you, you might mess up, and it can kind of get you down at times. Something that I like to think about that as well is, I'm not sure how many of you have ever tried going to the gym, starting a workout plan, but it can be very hard to get to the gym every day. Your body can be sore, your muscles might be aching, but it's important that you keep going back to the gym, because if you're motivated to keep going every day, you'll achieve results. And in order for you to become a better person, get in shape, become healthier, it's important that you keep going every day and building those muscles, because once you begin to falter, once you begin to lose motivation, it can be very hard to get back into the groove. And that's the same as work. You need to practice those skills you learn every day, because if you stop for a couple of days, take a week off of work, it can be very tough to get back into the swing of things. So it's important that you're motivated. Now, what is another way that practice strengthens skills? Practice creates bonds. I really like this saying. The more you practice, the better you get. Now, when I think of working, I think of one of the things that can really make or break your work experience or in business is being able to work with your coworkers, different partners, different companies, because they can really teach you things that you might have not been able to figure out yourself. And with their help, you're able to practice, you're able to role play different skills, different attributes you need to learn. So it's very vital that you're able to have good communication skills, so that way you can practice with them and create those bonds, because without those bonds you get, whether it's working, whether it's playing sport with your teammates, without those bonds, it can be very hard to succeed on your own, because a lot of it does rely on not only yourself, but what your teammates or coworkers can do as well. What is the most important way practice creates skills. One of the most important ways that we can do that is by actually failing, not succeeding in what we want. Now this can be really tough at times. It's hard to go and just continue out our day. And, once we make up, it can be hard for us to learn. Once we make those mistakes, hard to succeed. And so it's very important. One of the quotes I really like is it says, "Don't be afraid of failure. This is the way to succeed." And that's by a very famous person. His name is LeBron James. And whether it's I like to think of it as basketball because I played basketball, when I watch LeBron James, he missed hundreds of shots. He missed the game-winning shots. He turned over the ball, but he's still known as one of the greatest players. And that's because he learned from those mistakes and improved. And I like to think about that at my job as well. Sometimes I might make a customer angry, might screw an order up, different things like that. But, as I make those mistakes, I learn, hey, I shouldn't be doing that. And that allows me to become better as a person. So that is one of my favorite quotes. Something that goes along with that is practice builds confidence. Kind of going back to that last part is, for example, working in fast food. I've had some experience working in fast food, like I've already discussed. But as you mess up on customers' orders, you'll get an angry customer. It's hard to deal with them. But as you make those mistakes, you're better able to handle the situation. You're more confident in your food making abilities. You're more adequately able to deal with upset customers and be able to help them become satisfied. So there's just a lot of important skills you can learn, and you'll just get more confident overall, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's talking to people in public, whether it's giving a presentation. Really, the more you practice it, the more confident you'll be, and I've seen that a lot in my life. And just to kind of end, like I said earlier, practice strengthens skills. I really like this quote as well. Practice isn't the thing you do once you're good, it's the thing you do that makes you good. And I truly do believe that. I believe that if you are to practice every day, whether it's something you want to be, whether it's playing a sport, whether it's becoming the best employee of your company, if you're able to practice each and every day, then I promise you that you will become a better person as a result of it.